Full time here in Thurles, and Tommy Walsh, it was a game really that Clare dominated from the off.
They did, Stephen. I suppose we all thought maybe the pressure was on Tipperary last week, going up against Waterford. Today it was a home match for them. They needed to win. All the pressure was on them, and to come out with maybe a fighting spirit that we seen last week in Walsh Park. But all the fighting spirit today was with Clare. They got the 3 goals in the first half. They got a couple of lucky breaks, and I think all the damage was done in that first half. In fairness to Tipperary, Gerald Brown took the battle to Clare in that second half. He scored 1-3, came on as a sub, I think, for John McGrath near the end of that first half, where John McGrath went off with it, looked like a bad ankle injury. He took the fight to Clare in the second half. I think the damage was done before half time. Convincing. We probably could see it probably petering out near the end. A very convincing win for Clare.
Yeah, those goals were huge in the first half.
They were huge, and it was all about forwards doing their jobs. The ball came in, John Conlon went in, took a great shot, saved by young Hogan on the goal, but there was Ian Galvin just to put the ball in the back of the net. The other one then, you could see, they were soloing through again, and in comes Peter Duggan. Ball came in, bashing the ball to the net. What good forwards do, they're waiting for the chance. 9 times out of 10 that ball goes wide or goes into the back of the net. But that one occasion you have to be ready. It was twice in that first half. But the corner forwards doing their job, waiting in case the ball comes back into the back of the net. And goals win games, and they definitely won it here today, Stephen.
Yeah, and that energy that Clare brought to it, Tip just didn't have the energy levels to match it.
No, and we probably predicted that it would be tough for them to back it up 2 weeks in a row. They went with all guns blazing last week. They gave a powerful performance, and sometimes it is tough to back up a big performance when you lose in the end, because although we were all congratulating them, probably Colin Bonner and Tommy Dunn and the players themselves, I'm sure they were bitterly disappointed. If they had to got them a couple of goal chances last week, there would have been a victory there for them in Walsh Park. So I think they were probably a bit disappointed after losing last week. I was trying to pick out players that shone for Tipperary. There was very few, and I think we heard John Kiley talking about first week. They needed their energy levels. Limerick. He wanted to see Limerick's energy levels last week in their first game against Cork. He got it. Today, probably we didn't see them energy levels from Tipperary.
Do you think the 7-day turnaround is just too short, really, with Clare, all guns blazing for this?
Yeah, I think that's just the nature of the beast. You have to work with what you have. We all know you need a big panel coming through. You even see Clare, although they're winning well, they brought on all their subs, who did add. They've big physical players, and they're able to bring off one and bring on an equally as strong a fella. So I talk for Clare, young Hayes in the corner. He showed the character, I thought, of this Clare team, right? So I didn't know much about this Clare team because a lot of injuries during the league, only from what we seen last year. But young Hayes, when he was on the ball, he was calmness personified. When he didn't have the ball, he was attacking, he was a menace, he was tigerish. And there's no corner forward like to mark a lad like that. And that's what's needed in the modern game. You need to be able to calm when you're on the ball, when you don't have it. You saw every time a Tipperary forward got the ball, there was 3-4 Clare lads attacking him. And equally, you need your forwards attacking the defenders. When the Tipperary defenders got the ball, that's when we seen the power, the passion, the Brian Lohan type characteristics of that Clare team. And that's what's after making them so consistent. We all thought they were heavily reliant on Tony Kelly. Today other guys shone. Ian Galvin scored 1-2, Peter Duggan scored I think 1-3, young Mounsey scored 2 points, so they had heroes all over the field. I thought their half-back line in particular were outstanding for Clare.
Yeah, and this championship now, it's Limerick who are in control. Do you think Clare can match Limerick in Munster?
They have Cork next, massive one for Clare, because I think Clare in a good, they're in a good position now. They're in a, it's going to be tough for Tipperary to come back from today because they have to play Limerick, I think, in the Gaelic rounds. So they're fighting really for that second and third. You'd imagine Limerick will come out top. So I think all the other teams are fighting for the second and third positions. It's not going to be a cakewalk for Waterford either. They're not going to walk into a Munster final or walk into that top 3. They're going to have to, go and play Cork. Waterford are going to have to go and play Cork, and they're going to have to play Clare. So I think Clare are in a great position, and any team with Brian Lohan involved, they'll have belief and they'll have character, so they'll be afraid of no one. And they have a couple of games in Ennis as well, which nobody likes going down to Ennis to play Clare.
So I think it's 2 in Thurles and 2 in Ennis. It's lovely setup really to have just two grounds when other teams have to go to Walsh Park and places like that.
Yes, it is, and I presume they're playing Cork next week. It's here because of the concert Ed Sheeran. I'm actually going to it there this evening, so I don't mind whether it's in Croker or Páirc Uí Chaoimh. But yeah, so they have to come down here. So listen, it's probably a bit of luck that's playing on their sides, but they're kind of the big players like Peter Duggan. They have John Conlon in their back, mixed with their small players. So Thurles would suit them, even probably more so than Ennis. So I'd say Brian Lohan won't mind coming down to Thurles here again next week to play Cork. But I would say, Stephen, it'll be a different game against Cork, because if they start shooting the ball, like I think the Cork crowd now want them to hit the ball in fast after the first two results. There was huge space. We saw both teams today, both Tipperary and Clare, they were playing with two men inside, but the half back line were going out the field. So there was acres and acres of space, a nightmare for any corner back. So that full back line for Clare, they'll have a huge test against a speedy, fast Cork forward line next week here in Thurles.
Yeah, and I mean Clare looked at a lot of match winners there though, in Tony Kelly, in Duggan, who really was very difficult for Tip to mark. Cathal Barrett was trying it, a few boys were.
Yeah, he was influential, very influential. Like, he finished with 1-3, but it was the amount of ball he broke down, putting up the hurl, bringing it down. And then the Shane O'Donnell, he got 2 points, Mounds, he got 2 points. They're coming in around the sides, and they're able to pick off the passes to these smaller players, and they can do the scoring. Shane O'Donnell, he's usually a kind of an assistant, chief assist of that team, but today he was on the ends of them, which is great for him. Usually he's to set up scores. Today he was at the ends of them passes and putting the ball over the bar. Tony Kelly getting the ball and he'll score. He finished up, I think, with 1-7 there today, but probably wasn't their main forward, which is a big positive for Clare.
So how do you see it shaping up, Tommy, then with Limerick, Washford, Tip, Clare still in the mix, and Cork, of course?
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, I think for Tipperary, listen, they're not out of it, but it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be an uphill battle from now. They're finding it hard to score. Like, look, Jerry Brown scored 1-3, Jason Fore scored, maybe 6 or 7 points there. He was on freeze as well. But there was no one popping up with 2 points, 3 points. Nobody else in that Tipperary forward line. So I think they will struggle, because in today's game you have to be able to score, high 20s or goals. Now they missed a couple of chances, albeit, Mark Yeo, two goal chances that could have went in another day. So they will struggle. So I think Limerick will go through, Stephen, and I think the other 3 teams, Cork, Clare and Waterford, I think it won't be straightforward. I think it'll be a ding-dong battle for the remaining 2 places between them 3 teams. And
Leinster, Tommy, we saw Dublin and Wexford in action yesterday evening. Like, how do you think all that's going to pan out now?
Yeah, well, that's a big blow for Wexford. I felt, to get into that top 3, they'd want to be beating Dublin. Now, looking at the results, we're trying to add the permutations there last night at home. It's still not straightforward. Like, if Wexford come, if they win their remaining 2 matches versus Laois and Westmeath, that'll put them on 5 points before the final round, which is against Kilkenny up in Nolan Park. Win that and they're up to 7. So Wexford are no way out of it if they beat Kilkenny, because they got a point off Galway. For Kilkenny, it'll be important. It really starts for them now. They've Galway up in Salt Hill. If they don't win that, they're under pressure. So, but if they win that one, then they should be fairly well confident of going through. So, listen, I think there's all the result last week. I would have said Wexford, I would have said Kilkenny, and I would have said Galway. But the result last night down Wexford Park just opens up the whole of Leinster.
Brilliant. So a lot of hurling to go yet.
A lot of hurling to go on, sure, isn't it great?
Limerick still the favourites?
Yeah, I think so. But I think last night it can be shown that, like, Watford nearly had him. They got the 2 goals, they had to back to a point or 2, and they lost the next, I'd say, 3 or 4 possessions by trying to run through that green wall, as they're calling them now. You don't run through the green wall. You have to play it around them, play it over them, score before you meet them. Don't try and run through them. They tried that last night. Maybe they'll learn the next day. Just when they are strong like that, in together, tight, you can't run through the Limerick defence. So I think, yeah, Limerick are definitely still the favourites, but still can be beaten.